Hello and welcome to Should You Play, our video solution to your gaming curiosity. I'm Heather.
And I'm Craig.
And today we want to talk about a charming HD 2D open world RPG that simultaneously follows the adventures of 8 different characters who embark on epic journeys across the beautiful land of Orsterra.
Released in 2018, Octopath Traveler dropped on Xbox Game Pass in June 2024 alongside its 2023 sequel, so there's no better time to buckle yourself in for this lengthy title. But is this massive game worth the amount of time it will demand from you? Let's start by looking at the game's main selling point, and that's the 8 playable characters and the tales they have to tell.
Our fair city-state.
Unlike other RPGs of this kind, there is no overarching plotline that involves all of the characters, as Octopath Traveler adopts a more episodic approach to storytelling, giving each of the 8 playable characters their own standalone tales across 4 different chapters. There is a plot point with a central antagonist called Galdera the Fallen, but each story is self-contained.
Each character hails from different regions and boasts a unique character class, known as a job in this game, a path action that grants unique interactions with townsfolk, and a talent which is a special ability exclusive to them. We won't go into too much detail about each character's abilities and story because, well, spoilers, and we would be here all day, but here's a basic summary just to give you an idea of the variety. Let's start with the 4 ladies.
First, there's Ophilia the Cleric, who is on a pilgrimage to renew the flames of the church on behalf of her stepsister Lyanna, so that Lyanna can remain at their ill father's bedside. Being a cleric gives her access to healing and light-based magic. Her path action guide and summon talent allows her to enlist NPCs into her service, then request their aid as temporary battle companions.
Our second traveller is Tressa, who aims to satisfy her wanderlust by becoming a travelling merchant. Her merchant class means she can buy NPCs' belongings using her purchase path action. This might sound a bit boring, but Tressa's talent, Eye for Money, enables her to automatically pick up random sums of money periodically.
We also have Primrose the Dancer, who is on a dark mission to find her father's triad of murderers with crow tattoos and get revenge. Her dancer class gives her access to dark-based magic, and her path action, Allure, is very much a rogue version of Ophilia's guide and summon.
Our final female traveller is the hunter Hanit and her beast companion Lind, whose aim is to locate her master Xanta and assist him in slaying a monster known as Red Eye. Hanit can use her path action Provoke to challenge NPCs into battle, and she has one of the more unique talents. Hanit can capture monsters and send them out into battle to fight on her behalf.
Moving on to the males in this entourage, we first have the scholar Cyrus, whose wrongful academy expulsion grants him the opportunity to find a missing grimoire known as From the Far Reaches of Hell. Being an inquisitive scholar grants him command over the elements and the ability to analyse foes. He can also glean information from NPCs using his scrutinise path action.
Olberic is the warrior of this outfit, who seeks answers regarding his homeland's destruction at the hands of his former brother-in-arms, Erhardt. Olberic can use his path action challenge to battle NPCs, and being a warrior naturally grants him brute strength.
Next, there's the thief Therion, who is duped into the servitude of House Ravus to find stolen dragon stones. Although his combat abilities are mostly unimpressive, he is the only party member with the lock-picking talent that can open purple chests. His path action is Steal, giving him a level-based percentage chance to successfully pickpocket NPCs.
And last but certainly not least is the axe-wielding Apothecary Alfyn, whose concoct talent allows him to create medicinal and hazardous items to use during battle. His path action Inquire is the noble counterpart to Cyrus's Scrutinise. Alfyn's mission is to lead the life of a travelling apothecary, helping as many people as possible, much like the man who saved his life as a child.
As you can see, there is a lot of diversity here, which gives Octopath Traveler incredible replayability that the game simply doesn't get enough credit for. Which main character you choose at the start determines the game's vibe, where in the world your journey begins, and what arsenal and perks you initially have access to. Choose a character with less desirable abilities and a superfluous story, and you might not be pulled into the game as much as someone who chose differently.
What happened to your sweet little smile?
Octopath Traveler has turn-based combat through random encounters. All enemies have specific weaknesses that, when exposed and exploited, whittle down their shield level. When their shield reaches 0, their defences are broken and you can deal more damage for the duration until their shields are restored.
Enemies can be defeated without the need to break their defences if you are strong enough, but it's best to aim for an enemy break and then boost your abilities to inflict maximum damage. Each character gains a single BP or boost point each turn, which fills up a boost meter with a total of 5 BP. You can use these boost points to essentially power up your attack, using a maximum of up to 3 BP in a single turn.
Each character has basic melee attacks using their weapon of choice of either a stave, axe, sword, dagger, bow or polearms. They also have combat abilities linked to their job or class type. JP or job points, gained through winning battles alongside money and XP, can be spent on unlocking more class specific active and passive skills that can really turn the tides in battles.
There's also a range of status effects that can be gained and inflicted, such as poison, and elemental soul stones that can be deployed if your party has a shortfall in their arsenal. The combat system is quite engaging in its diversity and satisfying, but it most definitely comes with a learning curve.
Sometimes your attacks feel frustratingly unimpactful during a mind-numbingly long boss battle. Other times, combat can feel very satisfying, but your level of satisfaction heavily depends on your party setup against specific enemies and your strategy.
The combat isn't perfect. I've played this game a lot and I still don't quite understand the turn order during battles, or why characters sometimes get another turn straight away. You also cannot see enemies' HP, which is really stupid, and during big boss battles it's impossible to tell whether your actions are making any impact whatsoever, and it can be frustrating.
A more forgivable mechanic is that you initially cannot see enemies' weaknesses. You must discover them through trial and error, which is fine. Cyrus' study foe talent helps in this regard by identifying a single weakness upon entering battle. One thing to note about this game is that there is a lot of grinding for XP involved, particularly between chapters. And I'm not talking about grinding by XP farming a hidden exploit, because there isn't one. Well, there is, but it's hardly worth the effort, since they rarely show up, and when they do, they flee more often than not.
This is old school grinding. For example, you might find that Chapter 2 recommended levels are in the low 20s, but Chapter 3's recommended levels are in the low 40s, a massive leap. Side quests don't offer XP as rewards, so the only thing to do is gear up and hit the streets.
All in all, the combat is excellent if you already know what you are doing, which of course you won't at first. There is great satisfaction in figuring things out though. The game does give you everything you need to succeed, you just need to figure out what the game has given you and how to use them.
Bring your shame.
Moving on to the general gameplay, Octopath is fantastic. The gameplay is the main draw for me over the characters' tales, and it's interesting how gameplay changes depending on who you choose first and what order you recruit the others to your team. For example, if you choose Cyrus or Alfyn as a main character, their investigative path actions grant the player additional perks and information they would otherwise not be able to gain from NPCs straight away, such as the location of hidden items or a discount at the town's inn. Furthermore, some characters have access to magic and some don't, which can alter the feel of combat in the early hours of the game.
Each town is beautifully designed visually and otherwise. Walking around towns is always so visually pleasing, and each character's different path actions make revisiting the same town several times worthwhile. All of the major towns have an inn where you can change up your party, begin a character's chapter if they have business in town, and more. They also have a general goods store and a place to buy weapons and armour.
When it comes to side quests, it's quite old school. You are given very little information and must figure it out. Octopath does not hold your hand, and the questing style does remind me a little of classic Zelda games in this regard. Outside towns, the world is a real treat for the eyes.
We get to see glistening desert sands, rocky mountains, coastal sparkling water, gorgeous farmland greenery, and so much more. The HD 2D graphic style works so well, and I'm pleased to hear that Square Enix has chosen to release more games in this style, such as the Dragon Quest remasters. It is worth exploring every nook and cranny of this vast world, paying close attention to the danger levels of each area, because you don't want to be level 15 venturing into a level 40 area. That's a good way to get your ass handed to you.
Although the game is technically open world, you can't seamlessly walk around with no loading screens or anything, since each area is self-contained, but there's nothing boring about exploring the world in Octopath.
You will always find something by going a different route, whether it's a chest, a settlement, a person to speak to, or a cave, tomb, or other dungeon type area. There's always an air of excitement because you don't know what you are going to find, and I love that. There is also great diversity when it comes to the beasts you will encounter in each area, which is great, especially when you consider Hanit's capture talent and the possibilities.
The only other thing I want to mention about the gameplay and world itself is the music. Seriously, the entire soundtrack is perfect, they nailed it. From big orchestral pieces that can pump you up and inspire, to a beautiful guitar riff that can make you feel sad or hopeful depending on its use. Each character and town has their own dedicated piece of music, and each score has been so expertly paired that you could likely identify which piece of music is intended for which character and town, without having played the game based on aesthetics, dialogue, culture and other cues. It's just an astounding collection of works, and the music has become part of Octopath's identity.
Let's cut to the chase. Should you play Octopath Traveler? Absolutely. The only instance where we would tell someone to give the game a miss is if they are not keen on grinding and do not like turn-based combat, or if they simply don't like the complexity of more retro-style RPG gameplay. The fact that Octopath Traveler and its sequel are currently on Xbox Game Pass is also a massive plus, but for how long it will remain there is anyone's guess.
Anyways, there is so much more we could have said about Octopath, but we just wanted to give you an overview and let you know if the game is worth your time, which it is. Give this game a go, but don't expect to be able to finish it in a single weekend. It's not called Octopath for nothing, there's quite literally 8 standalone stories unfolding in tandem here.
Let us know in the comments what you think of Octopath Traveler.
I've been Heather.
And I've been Craig. This is Amalgamingle, and thanks for watching.